This video is sponsored by Squarespace, the all-in-one website platform helping you succeed online.
Hey everyone, so in this camera comparison, I've got the base model phone from Xiaomi, the Xiaomi 17 Global Edition, up against the OnePlus 15. So while not pro-style phones in name, they're both packing a lot of pro-style camera features, which we'll talk about later. And the Xiaomi 17 has the larger triple camera setup on the rear with a 1/1.31 inch main sensor, which is closer to a flagship level sensor, compared to the 1/1.56 inch sensor on the OnePlus 15, which is closer to more of a mid-range type sensor if you're looking for a comparison. They both have a 1/2.76 inch telephoto camera, although the Xiaomi 17 is more of a telemacro style, meaning you can get closer to subjects. So if you like taking more macro style photos, you can do that with the Xiaomi's telephoto camera, whereas the OnePlus telephoto sensor can't get as close. And the Xiaomi 17 has a slightly larger ultra wide angle camera sensor, and similarly the OnePlus 15 has a slightly larger selfie camera. Now OnePlus keeps getting a little bit smaller with their camera sensors over the last few years, just like their parent company Oppo, but they've gone away from their partnership with Hasselblad and they've created their own Detail Max for their software image processing. So we're going to see if the OnePlus can make up for those smaller camera sensors with this new processing system. And like I mentioned before, although these are not pro phones in name, they have pro camera features. They both feature pro modes for the cameras, as well as support for raw photography and log video, which is what you're seeing here. Log video allows you to color correct and color grade your videos to dial in the exact color that you're looking for. And so although these are not flagship level phones or exactly flagship level camera sensors, they have a lot of flagship pro camera features at a much lower price point, which is always a good thing. All right, so with all the specs out of the way, all that really matters is how the cameras perform and what the photos and videos look like. So like I always do, I'm gonna show you a bunch of photos and videos in both good and low light conditions to help you decide which of these two camera systems are gonna be best for your smartphone camera needs. So go ahead and take a look at all the photos and videos and let me know what you think. However, just a quick break from the video to remind you that having a personal or business website is a great way to organize and centralize your online content and activity, from news posts to blog posts to social media activity to any content that you produce like photos or videos. So if that sounds good to you, then today's sponsor, Squarespace, definitely has you covered.
With Squarespace, the all-in-one website platform, creating your personal website is quick and easy. Just sign up for a free trial and use their Blueprint AI website builder or select from a library of templates to get up and running in minutes. Creating a photo gallery is quick and easy. Just add a new page and select from several predefined layouts, then edit the gallery with your information, upload your images and optional descriptions, and enable the lightbox option to allow visitors to view larger images in a carousel.
And when you're ready to publish your website, go to squarespace.com/grantlikestech for 10% off your first website or domain. I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Squarespace, for sponsoring today's video, which helps me bring you more content like this. So let's go ahead and get back to the video.
Everyone, so here's the video test of the rear cameras of the Xiaomi 17 and the OnePlus 15. As you can see, they both are actively recording from the rear-facing cameras. And I am starting out with the ultra-wide-angle cameras on each at 4K 60 frames per second. So I'm just going to pan around here, give a side-by-side view of these ultra-wide-angle cameras and how they look. And off the bat, you'll notice that the OnePlus has the wider field of view and can fit more in the frame than the Xiaomi's ultra-wide-angle camera can. As you can see, it's a really nice sunny day, clear skies, no clouds, so a lot of blues, greens, and that red shed right there. So good colors to test out, and we'll go into the main camera on the Xiaomi. You can see not much of a difference between the ultra wide and the wide there. And then the OnePlus 15. So these are now the main cameras on each. And I'll do the same thing, just pan around here to give you a side-by-side view of both of these main cameras in the same spot here. How it handles the shadows in the trees, on the ground, and then how it handles the exposure as they come back up into the sky. Actually pretty well there in both. And we'll go ahead and pan over here to the right, and we'll test the zoom on that cell tower. So 2.6x telephoto on the Xiaomi, 3.5x telephoto on the OnePlus, and the Xiaomi can go all the way up to a 15x zoom there, and the OnePlus we can move all the way into an 18x zoom. So that's what the zoom looks like. Maybe a little bit clearer on the OnePlus, both holding very steady at this focal length. And we'll go ahead and pan back out to the 1x on both, and we'll test the autofocus on the OnePlus first. On the post, can be tough in the shade. Refocus and away. There you go, focused up and away one more time. And we'll go with the OnePlus now, and away, focus up, and one more time. All right, and so we'll go ahead and start walking on the stairs just so we can test out the stabilization here as we go through the stairs and through the pathway here. And I'll try to jog to try to stress out the stabilization a bit. So there you go, quick video test here outdoors with the Xiaomi 17 and the OnePlus 15. Let me know what you think. Everyone, so we're back in the same location. This time I've got log video turned on. So this is log video format, and I'll be color correcting or color grading the footage by the time you see it. And this is at 4K 60 frames per second. What's nice about the OnePlus is that you can actually switch between the lenses while recording in log at 4K 60. You cannot do that on the Xiaomi. You're gonna have to just pick a lens and go with it when recording in log video here. This is the ultra wide angle camera on the OnePlus. I can switch into the main camera right there. And then on the Xiaomi, since you're only limited to this main camera, you can only move into, let's see, a 6x zoom here, I think. There we go. And then on the OnePlus, since you have full range of motion to all the and access to all the cameras, you can go into the telephoto. That's the 3.5x telephoto, and you can go all the way into full 18x zoom on the OnePlus. So we'll just move this back out on each, and I'll just go ahead and walk down the stairs just so you can see what this looks like. Stabilization is on both of these, but let me know what you think about this log video footage that's been color corrected, probably color corrected versus graded. But let me know what you think versus the auto footage that you just saw, how the colors looked and the image quality and everything else. So let me know what you think about log video here on the Xiaomi 17 and OnePlus 15. Hey, so we're back with the rear cameras, this time at portrait video turned on. So you should be seeing this artificial background blur right now. And the one thing to note is that the Xiaomi 17 is limited to 1080p 30 frames per second recording in this mode, while the OnePlus 15 can record up to 4K 30 frames per second. And this is being set to an aperture of f/2.8 right now on each, so that is fully adjustable to have more or less blur as you want. And the sun is coming off my left right now, so you can see what that looks like with the overall picture quality. But as I pan the camera around, you can see what this looks like and how the effect holds up with the changing light. So now the sun is more directly behind me and more into the cameras right now. I'll keep panning around so that it is going to be more off of my right now, and I'll keep going all the way around so that it is now shining directly on me. And so it should actually be looking the best right now, even though it is some pretty intense light, because this background effect does require some good amount of light. And I'll pan all the way this way, and I'll just start walking so we can test the stabilization and show you what this looks like with some movement. So let me know what you think about the portrait video on the rear cameras of the Xiaomi 17 and the OnePlus 15.
Alright, so here's a front-facing video test on the Xiaomi 17 and OnePlus 15. This is being recorded at 4K 60 frames per second, which is the max resolution and frame rate of these front-facing cameras. And I'm obviously outdoors, and it's a very sunny day, clear skies and everything else around me. The sun is coming off my left, but this should still be a pretty good angle here, considering with all the lighting and how the exposure should be looking right now. But I'll just go ahead and pan the camera around so you can see what this looks like as the lighting conditions change. So now with it kind of being more directly behind me, and you can see maybe some of the sun coming into the cameras right there, what that looks like and what that does to the picture quality and the exposure. And I'll keep panning around here so that it is now more off of my right. And what that looks like should be still looking fairly well. And I'll pan all the way around so it's directly on me right now, so the sun is shining directly on me. And this should be the most even exposure and picture quality here, although it is some pretty intense sunlight. We got clear skies, no clouds right now. And we'll pan all the way back to where we started. And I'll just start walking so I can show you what this looks like with the stabilization and how the movement and how the cameras handle all of that. So let me know what you think about the front-facing cameras here on the Xiaomi 17 and the OnePlus 15. Hey everyone, so we're back with the front-facing cameras, this time with portrait video turned on. And one thing to note is that the Xiaomi is limited to 1080p 30 frames per second recording in this mode, while the OnePlus can shoot in 4K 30 frames per second in this mode. So you should be seeing this artificial background blur effect right now. And they're both set to an aperture of f/2.8, so it's fully adjustable to more or less blur as you like it. But I'm in the same spot, the sun is coming off my left. I'll keep rotating the camera around so you can see what the effect looks like here and the overall picture quality looks like with the changing lighting conditions, with it now more directly behind me. And more into the cameras if I dip it down like that. And we'll keep rotating around. So the sun will be now more off of my right. And we'll keep going this way so that is now shining directly on me. So this is where it should look the best, most even exposure. The effect requires a lot of light. So this is where the effect should be shining through right now. And I'll come all the way back around to where we started, and I'll just start walking so I can see how this effect holds up with a bit of movement and how the stabilization compares side by side here. So let me know what you think about the portrait video here on the front-facing cameras of the Xiaomi 17 and OnePlus 15.
So here's a low light video test of the rear cameras of the Xiaomi 17 and OnePlus 15. We're starting with the ultra wide angle cameras on each at 4K 60 frames per second. Again, these are the ultra wide angle cameras, so I'm just going to pan around here so give you a side-by-side view of how these ultra wide angle cameras compare in this particular setting. And it's looking pretty dark on each, a little bit darker on the Xiaomi, and that's twofold. One, because these ultra wide angle cameras sensors are smaller, they let in less light, and also we're filming at 60 frames per second. At 30 frames is a little bit brighter, but I'm trying to give you the highest resolution and frame rates here. And so let's go ahead and move into the main camera and see what we're talking about. So on the Xiaomi, everything brightens up, and now on the OnePlus, similar effect. So things are looking much brighter with the main cameras on each, larger sensors letting in more light. And I'll just go ahead and do the same thing. I'll pan around to give you a side-by-side view of how the main cameras here perform on each of the phones in this exact same setting. And we'll go ahead and even test out the telephoto cameras here and that zoom. So we got 2.6x telephoto here on the Xiaomi, 3.5x telephoto on the OnePlus. So again, these are a bit smaller sensors, so maybe a little bit darker here. We can even zoom in all the way on the Xiaomi. So max 15x zoom there, and we'll do a zoom in on the OnePlus, max 18x. So you can see what that looks like here and how the clarity or lack thereof at that zoom range in this amount of light. We'll go ahead and back them out on the Xiaomi and on the OnePlus, and we'll pan around and just start walking so we can test the stabilization, show you what that looks like here side by side, as well as how these cameras perform in a little bit less light. That was a bit of a brighter area back there, and we're going into a much darker area here. We just got some light coming off of the building on my left, but as you walk through the pathway here, it's pretty dark, especially as we round the corner. And at least the viewfinder, the Xiaomi is definitely brightening things up more than the OnePlus. At least when I'm seeing the viewfinder, it's on the OnePlus is looking closer to what it looks like with my own eyes here. And we'll point it down this way where it's a little bit more light coming off the building. And we'll pan all the way up here into the building and up into the night sky so you can see what that looks like. And there is some light pollution, so it's going to look a little noisy, but much noisier on the Xiaomi, at least the viewfinder, given that it's trying to really brighten everything up compared to the OnePlus. And we'll pan back down this way. So there you go, 4K 60 frames per second test here from the rear cameras of the Xiaomi 17 and the OnePlus 15 here. Let me know what you think about the quality. So here's a low light video test of the front facing cameras of the Xiaomi 17 and the OnePlus 15. This is being recorded at 4K 60 frames per second, which is the max resolution and frame rate of each of these front facing cameras. And I'm obviously outdoors here at night in some fairly optimal lighting conditions. You can see all the lights behind me. So this is a pretty optimal situation for these front facing cameras to be able to perform here. And again, like I said, this is at 60 frames per second, so it's maybe a bit darker than if you're to film at 30 frames per second, which is what I would recommend if you're filming at night. But I'm trying to give you the max resolution and frame rates here to compare. Let's also just start walking so I can show you the stabilization side by side, as well as walk over to an area with a little bit less light so you can see how these perform in less than ideal lighting conditions here. As I walk through this area, you can see much darker, much less light around. But I'll pull up here and I'll pan all the way around so you can see how these front cameras handle the really bright street lights behind me right there. You can see all of them in the back there, and actually handling them pretty well, not flaring any of them out, and overall exposure is looking fairly even considering. And so we'll walk back this way
into this area here where there's a lot less light. So you can see what this looks like here side by side. Obviously it's going to be much more dingy, a lot less light, and it's a warmer color tone, so you're going to see a little bit warmer color temperatures here, which is kind of what it is. But again, front-facing cameras, small sensors are going to struggle in low light regardless, and you're seeing that here in this particular situation where there's a lot less light. But let me know what you thought about the overall camera comparison here between the Xiaomi 17 and the OnePlus 15. Which one did you prefer, and which one would you prefer to use on a day-to-day basis? I think considering that these are not pro-level phones, at least by name, they do have a lot of pro-level camera features. The sensors aren't quite pro-level or flagship level, but there are a bunch of pro-level camera features. They both have pro modes. You can shoot in RAW photography and log video. They both have a bunch of filters and manual controls, so you can really get the picture that how you want as far as photography and videography to look. And obviously Xiaomi has a partnership with Leica, so you can kind of get some of those Leica filters and that kind of Leica look, quote unquote. So it just depends on what you're going for, but you definitely have a lot of control with the cameras on each of these phones. Again, considering that they're not labeled as pro level phones, but because of that, you're going to get a lot of performance here in the camera systems for a lot less than maybe some of your top tier flagship phones. So both of these can be had for under $1,000 depending on where you're located, and I think they punch way above their weight class at that price point as far as camera performance. I think Xiaomi has the slightly larger camera sensors, at least on the rear. OnePlus maybe slightly larger selfie camera sensor, but again, like I said, a bunch of pro level features for the camera systems on both these phones, and I think it's well worth the money, especially considering the prices of much more expensive flagship phones. So let me know what you thought about the camera comparison. Which one, again, would you prefer? If you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments. I'll try to answer what I can. And as always, thanks for watching.